Hi friends. Today's book is called Seashore. Hi. This is a book about beaches, everything about beaches, the plants, the animals, the water. This book is written by Lucy Beckett Bowman and designed by Carolyn Spatz. Parents, it's not really a warning, just so you're aware. This book does talk a little bit about predator and prey, nothing graphic at all. I just wanted to let you know in case your kiddo might be sensitive to that. Okay. The seashore is where the land meets the sea. There are different types of seashore all over the world. This is a sandy beach. Sand is made from tiny pieces of broken shell and rock. Did you know that? When the seashore is covered in water, it's called high tide. When the shore is bare, it's called low tide. High and low tide happen twice a day. Plants and animals live high up in the seashore. They can survive both in and out of water. At low tide, most of the shore is uncovered. Some parts are always underwater. Blennies are a fish that can live out of water. Their slimy bodies help them slide over rocks. Wow, it's pretty cool. At low tide, pools of water are sometimes left between the rocks. The pools are full of life. Crabs, mussels, and little fish live in them. That's called a tide pool. A sea anemone lives on a rock in a pool. It waves its tentacles to attract fish. If a fish touches the tentacles, it is stunned. The anemone guides the fish to its mouth in the middle of its body. See that? That's a sea anemone. They don't look scary. Boxer crabs hold stinging sea anemones to defend themselves from attacks. It's interesting. Many seashore creatures have shells covering their bodies. Scallops swim by pushing out water as they open and close their shell. Nautiluses grab food with their long tentacles and pull it inside their shell. Abalones have strong shells that are very hard for other creatures to break. So this is a mussel. This is a nautilus. And this down here is an abalone. So some fish have really hard shells to protect them. Hermit crabs don't grow a hard shell like most crabs. They find another creature's old shell and then crawl inside of it. When this crab gets too big for the shell, it will leave it and find a bigger shell. Just like a home for hermit crab. Plants that live at the seashore have to survive strong winds and salty air and water. Sea holly has thick and leathery leaves that don't get torn by powerful winds. Thrift grows between rocks high up in the shore, so the salty water can't reach it. It's right there. Sea kale has long roots that reach down to find fresh water below ground. What's this one right here? Marram grass has leaves that roll up to trap damp air inside so they don't dry out. Portland spurge stems have a nasty taste. This stops rabbits from eating them. So this is the marram grass right here. And this is the one that's not yummy for rabbits. Seaweed is a type of plant that grows underwater at the seashore. Some seaweed has pods called air bladders in its fronds or leaves. The pods are full of air and make the fronds float under the water. Have you seen seaweed before at the beach? Yeah, it's kind of slimy, huh? Seaweed doesn't have roots. Instead, it may have a sucker called a holdfast that clings it to a rock. Most seaweed has a slimy layer that stops it from drying out at low tide. When the tide comes in, seaweed floats upright and its fronds spread out. So this is what seaweed looks like outside of the water. This is what it looks like when it's in the water. Those look very different, don't they? Many birds live at the seashore because there is a lot of food for them to eat. Gannets fly over the water and then dive to catch fish. Oyster catchers use their long beaks to pull worms from the sand. Turnstones flip over stones with their beaks to look for food. Have you ever been to the beach and birds have tried to take your food? Yeah, those are seagulls. And they dive into the water just like these birds are for fish. When seabirds drink too much seawater, they get rid of it through their noses. Birds build nests and lay eggs by the seashore. This puffin has collected sand eels to feed its babies. Look, she's gonna go feed her babies. At the seashore, many animals spend time both on land and in sea. Mud skippers breathe through their gills when they are swimming. On land, they breathe through their wet skin. Look at that, that's pretty amazing. Sea otters hold their breath when they dive underwater to look for food. A sea otter picks up a mussel and then finds a large stone. It swims to the surface and balances the stone on its tummy. The otter smashes the mussel shell against the stone. It pulls out the mussel with its teeth and eats it. Creatures that live near the seashore have different ways of protecting themselves. A sea urchin body is covered in spikes. This makes the sea urchin hard to attack. A stonefish's body is patterned to look like a rock. This helps it to hide. An octopus sprays black ink to stop other creatures from seeing or smelling it. So this is a sea urchin right there. See how spiky it is? And then this one right here is called a stonefish. Look, see how he just kind of blends in? And this, of course, is an octopus. And see that black ink behind him? Yeah, it's pretty smart ways to protect themselves. When a pufferfish is in danger, it sucks in a lot of water to make itself bigger. See? So when the pufferfish it's big like that, it makes the other fish just want to leave it alone because he's gotten so big. Most sea turtles spend their lives swimming in the sea, but they come onto a beach to lay their eggs. A mother turtle digs a hole in the sand. She lays about 100 eggs in the hole. Then she buries the eggs in the sand. 100 eggs, can you believe that? That's so many. And then she buries them in the sand, and then she goes back out to the ocean. Sea turtles can live to be 100 years old. When baby turtles hatch out of their eggs, they dig their way out of the sand and they crawl to the sea. Look at those cute baby turtles. Most waves are caused by the wind blowing across the surface of the water. On a calm day, the wind blows gently and small waves ripple across the water. When it is stormy, the strong wind makes huge waves crash onto the shore. Over many years, the waves carve away the land, making tall cliffs. The huge rocks in the sea were part of the land until waves wore away the rock between them. See that? In some hot parts of the world, large reefs of coral grow in shallow water by the seashore. Corals grow in different shapes. Some have branching fingers, and some are flat like a plate. So that's coral-like here. There. It's pretty, huh? Lionfish hunt in reefs. They trap little fish against the coral with their long fins. Parrotfish eat coral. They have special teeth that look like a hard beak. So this is a lionfish. And this is a parrotfish. Some seashores are very cold. The creatures that live there have special ways of coping with the freezing sea. Seals have a thick layer of fat called blubber under their fur. This keeps their body warm. Blubber covers their whole body except their head and their flippers. Penguins dive into the icy sea to hunt for food. They must keep swimming or else they will get so cold. Their bodies are covered in oily feathers that keep the water out. Most seabirds fly to warmer places when the weather gets too cold. There are lots of interesting things that get washed up onto the seashore. This is a man-o'-war. It's like a jellyfish. It has an air bladder that makes it float in the water. This man-o'-war has been blown onto a beach by strong wind. Does that look like a jellyfish, huh? Yeah, it does. Small dogfish and rays lay their egg inside an egg case. Sand dollars are the shells of round, flat sea urchin. They look a bit like coins. Whelks lay lots of eggs in egg cases. When they are empty, they look like this. So this is an egg case. This is a sand dollar. And this is also egg cases. The end. Wait, real quick, I want to show you this so you can check it out. If you're interested in the ocean and if you liked that story, there's some other websites that you can visit. So I will post these websites. There they are. Also, I would recommend the documentary that Disney did called Ocean. I hope you enjoyed the story. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon. Bye.